Welcome to your weekly forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. In these weekly videos, I go over the astrological energies for the week ahead. And in this video, we will be going over the energy for September 25th to October 1st, 2023. If you align with my energy and you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So I always like to start these weekly videos off by going over some of the energy that we have been moving through and that is coming into the week with us. And so I would like to touch on the sun entering Libra. We are now in Libra season. And also as we come into the week, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter and Mars forming an opposition, a Chiron retrograde. And so I want to touch on these energies before we get into the week ahead. So first, let's go over Libra season. We now have the sun in Libra. What I want you to keep in mind is that now we have the South Node in Libra. So this Libra season is going to feel a little bit different. The nodes are very faded, very karmic energy. The South Node indicates an area of life where we are releasing and letting something go. And the North Node indicates an area of life we are moving into. Something new is coming in, a new beginning. And so while the sun is highlighting this area of your chart with the South Node there, people, experiences can be coming up for you, coming to your attention, where you are now having a better understanding of who and what needs to be released, let go of. This can be a time where you have an understanding of who has been holding you back in some way. October 14th, we will have the new moon in Libra solar eclipse. And so we are going to feel the buildup starting now. As soon as the sun is in Libra, there's this buildup coming in over the next few weeks. So pay attention. And then once we have the solar eclipse, I feel like this can be almost an epiphany of, oh my gosh, now I know what I need to do. I know what I need to release. I know who or what I need to let go of. So pay attention now to what is showing up, how you're feeling, over the next few weeks and even through the entire Libra season. But once we have, that new moon in Libra, it's almost like things can start to almost make sense. And then eclipses trigger energies to play out, over a matter of 6 months, sometimes to 2 years, depending on how long the eclipse is. So I just wanted to touch on that first. Pay attention to what is showing up for you, how you are feeling. This is a period of time where a lot of people, and I'm seeing this a lot, where a lot of people are becoming aware of who in your life, because Libra represents partnerships. Libra represents relationships of all kinds. And so a lot of people are starting to realize certain individuals in their life are holding them back or are no longer in alignment with who they are now and the direction that they want to move in. Now, if we get into this Mars opposing Chiron energy, this is where there can be something triggered around this time where someone in your life is possibly, saying something that, and it's not even saying something that is offensive. It's saying something that is triggering, some wound, some trauma that you've been through in your life. And so this is definitely an energy we want to be mindful of. Throughout the week, we will have Mars move closer to the South Node. And so there is this intensity added to the energy already that we're dealing with when it has to do with people in our life and becoming aware of, who's no longer in alignment, who has been blocking us in some way. And this week, especially even Sunday, when we have this Mars opposition to Chiron, coming into the week, and then on Monday, there can be something triggered here where that it's almost to I'm feeling intuitively something triggered that is really highlighting maybe even something you thought you already worked through. And this can have to do with relationships, right? It's Libra energy. So it can be love relationships. It can be any form of personal connections, family member, somebody at work, where there's a trigger here happening. and you're becoming aware of something inside that maybe you still need to heal from, or even becoming aware of something you didn't even know you had to heal from. So definitely an energy to be mindful of. And as we approach, that October 14th, when we have that eclipse, we are going to, before that, have Mars conjunct the South Node. And so between now and October 14th, there is a lot of this buildup of really becoming aware of those individuals in our life that have been holding us back, and those people in our life that we are no longer in alignment with. We also have, coming into the week, Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter, which comes exact September 25th, but will carry on into September 25th on Monday. And I want you to keep in mind that this is an energy we kind of feel throughout the week, because coming into the week, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter. And then as we come out of the week, we will have Mercury forming a trine to Uranus. So pay attention to your ideas this week, your thoughts. This is about your mind, your mindset. It's Mercury. Mercury is finally direct. And so this is a really beautiful supportive energy, especially for us Gemini and Virgos. Anyone that has a lot of Gemini Virgo energy in their chart really feel that Mercury retrograde energy. And so Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter and Uranus can bring in some really beautiful insights or ideas both for a new project or direction that you're moving in. And so this really is a week to journal, pay attention to the ideas and thoughts that you are receiving and that are showing up for you. Okay, so now let's get into the weekly energies. As soon as we come into the week on Monday, September 25th, we have that Mercury-Jupiter energy. We have the moon in Aquarius, and we also have the sun forming an in conjunction to Saturn. And this is where there is something not flowing when it has to do with commitments, responsibilities, boundaries, and your self-expression, your self-identity, the direction that you're moving in or want to move in some way. And again, because the sun is in Libra, this can be relationships, partnerships, and close personal connections. So just an energy that you do want to be mindful of. And also because the moon is going to be in Aquarius, forming a square to Jupiter and Uranus. This is where we do also want to be watching for anxiety at this time. This is a perfect time to do some grounding, especially on Monday and early Tuesday while we have the moon still in Aquarius. And I believe on Tuesday, the moon forms that square to Aquarius exact. So Monday and Tuesday is a great day to ground, drink a lot of water. This is a time where you can be feeling a little bit extra anxious, especially if this is something that you already struggle with. On Tuesday, we have the moon forming a square to Uranus, but also the moon in Aquarius forming a trine to Mars. Mars representing anger, aggression, conflict, but also motivation, willpower, and drive. When we are talking about the moon, we are also talking about our body, our home, our emotions, our intuition. And so this is a time, especially Tuesday, where we do want to be trying to regulate and balance our energy and emotions, because it can be a little bit difficult when the moon is connecting to Uranus and also connecting to Mars. However, the moon connecting and forming a trine to Mars is a time where we can be feeling, extra motivated, have a lot of drive to really go after whatever it is, our projects, our goals for the day. We definitely have supportive energy on Tuesday to do so. Tuesday evening, we will have the moon enter Pisces and form a conjunction to Saturn. And this is where we can feel restricted in some way, especially when it has to do with our emotions and our feelings, because the moon represents our emotions and feelings, and Saturn can sometimes feel restricted, like we are not able to express ourselves in some way. So definitely an energy we want to be mindful of Tuesday evening. If you are moving through something, where you're feeling like even having a hard time regulating your emotions or balancing out your energy, it could be that Saturn moon conjunction. Now, what I suggest for this time is to do whatever you do that helps balance out, meditating, grounding, eating healthy, whatever kind of works for you. This is a good time where you want to be focusing more on those routines, in a sense. If this is something that is showing up for you that can be more difficult, this is also a time where you can be experiencing something around personal boundaries as well. Maybe somebody overstepping personal boundaries in some way and affecting you emotionally, because that can be that Moon Saturn conjunction as well. Now, a beautiful energy with the Moon in Pisces, which we will experience until we get to Thursday, is creativity, imagination, intuition. This is a beautiful time while the moon is in Pisces to journal and to really tap into your creative flow, whether it's projects, whether it is, home projects, work projects, whatever you really need that's creative. Pisces is a very creative, imaginative, intuitive energy. And so this is a beautiful time to tap into those energies to utilize. Thursday evening before the moon enters Aries, and we have that full moon in Aries on Friday the 29th, the moon is going to form a conjunction to Neptune. This is beautiful for intuition, for any spiritual practices, for creativity, imagination. But the interesting thing about this is there is a sextile formed between the moon and Neptune and Pluto, because Pluto and Neptune have been moving in this sextile. This is a great opportunity to really develop psychic abilities, to enhance your intuition, to tap into the frequencies and the energies around you, to raise your vibration, to do any intuitive work. And so I just wanted to throw that in there. And that is Thursday afternoon. Actually, it's Thursday around, I'm Eastern Standard Time, so it's Thursday around 2:40 p.m. we will have the moon form a conjunction to Neptune exact, and this creates a sextile between the moon and Neptune and Pluto. And this is great energy just to tap into for, like I said, spirituality, intuition, creativity. And on Thursday, we also have Thursday evening, Venus forming a square to Uranus retrograde. This is an ongoing story that has been playing out for a few months now. Venus has squared Uranus when Venus was retrograde, and now this is happening again. And so this has been this ongoing kind of theme the last couple of months when it has to do with your money, your finances, relationships, your self-love, self-worth. This is where something may be showing up unexpectedly that you're having to move through, that you're having to address. And so you do just want to be mindful on Thursday, especially too, of overspending, spending too much money, or maybe even something showing up that maybe you thought you already paid and you have to pay again, or have to pay because it didn't get paid, something along those lines. Or even something that has to do with relationships. Maybe, something showing up again that you're having to move through. Maybe you thought you already dealt with this, you already released it, you already let it go, and it had to do with a certain individual in your life. And now, unexpectedly, this person is showing up, or something is showing up for you to move through. And then as we come into Friday, the 29th, we will have the moon enter Aries and eventually form that full moon in Aries at 5 degrees. Now, I will be creating a separate video going deep into this energy, also touching on all 12 rising signs like I do with all the new moons and full moons. So make sure you watch for that. I will actually be creating and creating that video when I'm done this one and recording it and everything. So watch for that, because it will be posted very, very soon. But at the same time of this full moon, we still have Venus forming a square to Uranus. Now, Mars is going to be the dispositor, the ruler of this full moon, and Mars is only 3 degrees away from the South Node at this point. Mars will be at 21 degrees of Libra, which is ruled by Venus forming a square to Uranus. So there is quite a story playing out here, which I will definitely get much deeper into in the full moon forecast. But this can have to do with relationships, a lot to do with relationships at this time. Now, with full moons, we also want to keep in mind, what was going on for you at the new moon in Aries. This is very much how I work with the new and full moons. If you watch my new and full moon horoscopes, you understand that a lot of times the intentions we set at the new moon tend to come to fruition at the time of the full moon in that same sign. So when we had our new moon, which our new moon in Aries was a solar eclipse, a super powerful solar eclipse back in April. And it was our first eclipse in Aries that was really beginning this entire Aries Libra nodal axis and eclipse cycle in Aries and Libra. But that solar eclipse was very intense and very powerful. What was showing up for you back in April? This is going to give you an idea of something that is a culmination point, something that is coming to fruition, that is starting to manifest. You are finally starting to see the manifestations of whatever it was you were trying to get going back at that new moon, back at that solar eclipse. And it's not even a total finalizing of manifestations because it's an eclipse cycle. So it's almost like a stepping stone for this really big manifestation, this new journey, these new changes that are showing up for you with this eclipse energy, with the nodes being in Aries and Libra. This is almost like another stepping stone to that. So you definitely want to be paying attention to how you're feeling, what is showing up for you, especially what correlates with whatever was showing up for you back in April. Now, keep in mind, we are in eclipse season. Basically, as soon as the sun enters Libra, we're officially in eclipse season because we have the South Node in Libra. And so this is a period of time where we do feel those heavy energies, those heavy eclipse energies. We want to be paying attention to, like I mentioned, what is showing up for us, especially when it has to do with the changes that these eclipses are going to bring in for us. If you don't know the areas of life where these eclipses are happening in your birth chart, check out my video, the Aries Libra video that I posted. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of this video, where I get into, the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. You'll be able to see where these, but I'll also be posting a video about it too, because of course I'm going to be making a video about the eclipses. But you basically want to know where you have Aries and Libra in your birth chart, because this is going to show you the areas of life where you will be going through massive changes. And these can be, physical changes, emotional changes, psychological changes, changes of all kind, but eclipses usually shift and change our direction in some way. And so with this full moon in Aries, this is another milestone to that. This isn't more energy showing up for you when it has to do with this nodal journey, this eclipse journey. So definitely pay attention. And I will talk about this as well on the full moon in Aries video. And then on Saturday, September 30th, we will have Mercury at 22 degrees of Virgo forming a trine to Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus. And so this is that energy I was kind of mentioning at the beginning of this video. Well, we will kind of be feeling this throughout the week. As we come into the week, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter. And as we come out of the week, we have Mercury forming a trine to Uranus. Mercury representing our mind, our mindset, communication. This is where we can be getting really sudden downloads. We can be having really interesting conversations with people. This is also where we can be hearing and seeing a lot of information, showing up on the news, showing up on social media. This is where something very sudden can happen, very unexpected, sometimes even very chaotic, because it's that Uranian energy. So we definitely, want to be mindful of what we're seeing on the news at this time. But individually, this is where we want to be journaling. We want to be paying attention to our thoughts. Because of that Mercury trine to Uranus, we can be getting really sudden ideas for next steps in a direction that you're taking. Now we also have Mercury finally out of that post-shadow area of Virgo. Mercury stationed retrograde in Virgo at 21 degrees and moved to 8 degrees. And so with Mercury now being at 22 degrees, 23 degrees this week, we finally are entering new territory when it has to do with that Mercury energy. So whatever is showing up this week, especially at the end of the week with these mercurial themes, it's not anything we've kind of already been moving through. It's something new because Mercury is out of that post-shadow area. So which is really beautiful. Now, the moon enters Taurus late Saturday. And so again, now the moon is in Taurus. The moon is going to be kind of connecting to Jupiter, connecting to Uranus. So as we move through the weekend and come into next week, we want to be watching for that anxiety, but also paying attention to our energy, our frequency, our vibration is really important, especially when the moon is connecting to Uranus. Uranus ruling our electrical systems in our body, our nervous system, and the moon being an indicator of the body, and our feelings and emotions and our subconscious. And so where it can be challenging if you're not aware of what is showing up for you and how you're feeling, but it can be really beautiful to transmute and utilize for your own benefit. Now, on Sunday, we have some really interesting energy that kind of plays out into October. Sunday's October 1st already. I can't believe how fast the time is flying. But we have a yod between Mars, Uranus, and Neptune, which will come into the week next week, but really starts on the Sunday. We also have Venus forming a trine to the north node, a sextile to the south node. We will have the moon form a conjunction to Jupiter retrograde all on Sunday, and we will also have Mercury form an opposition to Neptune retrograde on Sunday. So Sunday, October 1st, there's a lot going on. We want to be mindful of what is showing up. This is where a lot can be showing up for us to shift and change your direction in some way, especially with that Venus connecting to the north and south node. Venus is the ruler of the south node. So something is showing up on Sunday that you want to be mindful of and aware of. Even if it's just a feeling or a thought, a conversation, or something that is going to push you into a new direction. And again, even intuitively, I'm feeling like we are in a time and in the energy of becoming aware of those people in our life that are no longer in alignment, and even new people, and this even just came to me as I'm talking, new people showing up for us that are in alignment, part of our soul tribe in a sense, that are in alignment with us, that resonate, that can really help guide us and support us and support you moving in this new direction that you're moving in, whatever changes are even showing up with this nodal journey. Because I have talked a lot about the North Node being in Aries, where we're really stepping into our personal power and going through this self-discovery journey, and the South Node being in Libra, where we are releasing those who are not in alignment, releasing those who are not meant to be there in this new journey that we're kind of stepping into. And so there can very, very much be this energy of becoming aware of who is no longer in alignment, but also having new people show up for you to help guide, to help you move into and support, this new direction that you will be moving into. On Sunday, we also have Mercury opposing Neptune retrograde, and Neptune can sometimes be very confusing. Neptune can be very illusionary, can also represent deceptiveness. And with Mercury ruling our mind, our mindset, how we are communicating, this can be an interesting conversation with someone that you're having. This can be, again, us seeing something on the news, on the media, on social media that's very confusing, where there can be absolutely deceptiveness taking place in our personal life, but also worldly, collectively. And so Sunday's a very interesting energy. We have a lot going on. I may even make a separate video kind of going into this energy because it's quite interesting. Now, this energy that is starting on Sunday will play out into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So I will talk more about that in the next week's forecast. I also might make a separate video as well going into, because there's another yod. There's a couple of yods taking place. There's also a yod between Venus, the south node, and Neptune, which I find really interesting. And the kind of what I'm feeling from that is interesting as well. And so I might make a separate video kind of pulling the charts up. But I just wanted you to know that all this energy starting on Sunday will play out into next week. And so I hope this helps you move through the energy for the week ahead. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you all in the next one.